Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is Coach Renz, and welcome to Deconstructing Christianity. I will be your host for about an hour and a half or so. And upon, I know I'm starting very, very late today, 2 hours later than I want to start today, but it's all right. We're here right now, and hopefully we can get some quick, good conversation about why atheists are actually just more moral than Christians. And that's going to be the conversation there, and I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone can come up here and debate the fact about this so-called goodness of God. I believe that Christians are worshiping multiple gods when they claim that they worship the God of the Bible, because what we see is very much, at minimum, two distinctly different gods that are mentioned in the Bible here. Whether we're talking about the God of the Old Testament compared to the God of the New Testament, we definitely are seeing more than one God in this narrative about the Abrahamic God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and now the worship of Jesus. And Jesus technically can be counted as two gods if you really want to look at it that way. But we definitely are seeing multiple worships of multiple gods. But if we look at this God of the Bible, and we look at the morality that we have ascended to in our current day and time, we see that our morality is, and I would dare to say most Christians' morality is better than the God that they actually claim to worship, the God that they fear, the God that they're afraid of. So that's going to be the discussion for today, is who is this God? And what is his temperament? What is his attitude? Why is he immoral in our standard today? This is why most Christians don't read the Old Testament. Most Christians, if you ask most Christians anything about the Old Testament, most of them don't know it. They simply don't know the Old Testament because they recognize that the God of the Old Testament is terrible. Is a horrible God. And there are just so many different instances that we can look at and see just how terrible this God is. Whether we're talking about the entrapment that occurred in the Garden of Eden, we could talk about him killing all the priests of Baal and not giving them a shot. Instead, he could have demonstrated his power in so many different ways. He could have just burnt the sacrifice. He didn't have to kill the people. Whether we talk about how he roasted, he had to be, two bears kill these kids. The God of this Bible is just completely immoral. Let's go ahead and get it started with Lo. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, what's up, Coach?
How you doing? Doing pretty good.
I see you in here in a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of been iffy the last couple of months here. Even today, I was working on some other stuff, and just almost didn't do a live today because time. Yeah, and I still got one more client that I got to call today, so I still got stuff to do before the day is over with.
It's funny, man. I did a video on this myself, like in my deconstruction. I'm like, when you look at the Bible, where is there really a real positive presentation of the God of the Scripture, where he himself presents himself? Where is a real positive representation? Because you look at the book of Job, I'm going through some crazy stuff. People try to tell me tell me I'm Job and stuff. And I'll be like, have you ever actually read Job? Because
I don't think they
Job,
have.
God, it's horrible.
Yeah, the God version in Job is something that you would never want that to be your God. You doing all right. You doing everything as he has prescribed for you to do. He said you're righteous and all that stuff. You're a follower of the law, and then he takes all your shit, kills your kids, and that's the part that really gets me. He kills your kid and think just by giving you some new kids, that's supposed to make it all right.
Hey, this is the thing about that. One thing we don't think about, we think about his kids, but we don't think about the fact he killed all his servants too, except for 3 of them.
Yeah, killing the servants, the kids.
So they went through all of that, so God can prove something about Job. So all these people, but Job, God is willing to harm all these other people, allow the devil to harm all these other people And then you think about the character of the devil or Satan himself is like, so when you really think about it, God purposely allows a being to harm and destroy people so that he could prove our love to him. And when you really think about it, when you sit that right down and you really think about that, it's like, that's a horrible being. It's like, why would I love a being that does something like that to me? They're going to put me through all the worst stuff possible so I can prove my love to him. He's a superior being. I'm unnecessary, so why is it necessary for me to prove my love to him? Why does God, the God scripture, need you to worship him and love him to that extent?
You know, and that in itself tells you something about this God. You cannot be the God creator of all things and a good God if you have need. If you need something to love you, I created man so that they would have a choice, and because I was longing for them to love me. That's a weakness. That's like that simple dude or simple woman who just accepts an abuser because they just want somebody to be with them. They just want some companionship. So I'll just take whatever joker that comes along my way. You know what I'm saying? So, and even though the Bible never says that he needs, that's the way that the Christian doctrine goes. That God needed, the purpose of creating man was because God needed or wanted something to love him of free will, to which you really don't have free will when you're given an ultimatum.
Right.
You know, so it's not even
that real love. That real love is I test your love to the point where I'm gonna put you through torturous things. I'm gonna put you through torture to test your love. And to me, like, even in the case of him wanting love, I mean, I guess I can see him wanting love, but to want love to that extent, that's crazy.
If you're the God of all things, why do you have wants at all? You wouldn't have any wants. You know all things. You know everything. You're all powerful. There should be no desire, no wanting within you, because everything is already present, known, there. Why is there a wanting? Why is there a needing?
It needs to be praised.
Yeah.
It needs to be worshipped.
Exactly. What you gonna force people?
If you love your wife more than you love him, God might take your wife away. He might do this and this. It's like, really?
Right. It's just dumb, because when my grandfather passed away when I was 15 years old, God didn't take my grandfather away. All that damn drinking and hard life before, and working in coal mines and eating everything with all that grease. That's what caused that stroke heart attack. It wasn't God. It was his lifestyle.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to teach you a lesson because you loved your granddad so much.
Right.
So to show you, you're supposed to love me more.
Which at the time frame, I will say I love God more than I love my grandfather at the time. Now, if it was my grandmother, that's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. I love my grandmother more than I love God back then. But still, I knew the year that she was going to pass away. And although I tried to get my Marine Corps unit to let me stay, about 5 months later, she passed away. What lesson was God trying to teach me? Nothing. There was no lesson in that. None whatsoever.
But we want to believe there is.
Right. And she was a beautiful woman, inside and out. But I used to watch her eat the fat off, like I would trim the fat off my steak and she'd eat that. And I used to be like, "Oh, grandmama, you nasty." But you can't eat like that and think you're gonna live. You're gonna have a heart attack.
It tastes good off a steak.
Yeah. Man, the texture of that is just so gross. I can't do it. I can't do it.
It's certain things, the texture I can't do. I don't like. I say that. That's why I don't eat grits. I don't like the texture.
You know what? I know people like that too. But it's just there is, like, I was trying to sit here and think of, you said there's nothing good that this God has done. I'm trying to think of something that just altruistically good that this guy has done. And I literally cannot think. Nothing is coming to mind right now of anything.
The New Testament God, you know, it's you know, it seems to be a loving God because he forgives you, has mercy, heals people and things like that. You got some others in the Old Testament too, but when God actually shows up and speaks and all of that, it's like we supposed to be scared of him or anything.
Right.
We're just, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing. Like I said, that representation of Job. I mean, when he shows up, it's like he's scolding Job, even though he didn't put him through all that. It's like, who do you think you are?
Right.
I was there. Where were you at when I did this? When I did that? And then basically he just punked Job. Job got punked. He's like, oh, I spoke things too wonderful for me to speak. And I shouldn't have been speaking that because, you know, you're this and you're that.
Yeah, if I was Job, I'd have stopped worshiping his ass. I would have. I would have been like, dude, I was doing right by you and you still did me dirty. That's like when you got a mate and you treat them and love them exactly how they want to be loved. And then they still go cheat on you and then expect you to still treat them the same way after the fact. Man, please. I'm about to go get me a new woman. You're not coming back to me with that. No. Because what prevents me from loving you right again, and then you still go out and do the same thing? You know,
it's kind of changing that, you know, the way they perceive like their God in the first place is, it shows just basically their own superstitions. You know, the gods are something that they are beings that are out there that are angry on our service and all of this. So for us to get blessed by them, we have to get their favor. So we do all this begging and all this stuff. So we got a God who punishes all of this, but if we worship him right, then, you know, so that's why, like, with Job and that, for them, their representation of God is what they think God is, you know. So you're supposed to be, you're dependent upon his grace and mercy. So you need to be a servant of his and you need to be humble.
Yeah, but this God is as temperamental as any other God in the ancient world. They can be, they can help you out with a good rain for your crops one year and then they give you a drought the next year. But the blame always go back to the people. You can worship this God, give him all his sacrifices, everything, and then he still screws you over. Right. And you know people as well as I know people who have lived their entire life trying to be as good as they possibly can to this God, but yet they go through life struggling, going through all kind of hell. Most of it they could change themselves, and then they die. They never get their moment. So this is why they have to say, oh, but in heaven is like the color purple. You know, this life is temporary. Heaven lasts forever. That bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's the offer. That's what we, you know. And it's funny because, like you said, we talk about the Old Testament, New Testament. In the Old Testament, it's like it's almost no expectation of heaven. It's like it's barely there.
Well, because there isn't one.
Like, I think I get to Daniel before you see something.
You don't. The afterlife in the Old Testament, for the majority of it, is just everybody goes to Sheol, and it's this dark, gloomy place. That's it. You don't, until they come under Persian control, that's when they start developing more of a heaven hell kind of scenario. And for them, that was Abaddon and Abraham bosom, which was two places across from each other. But they developed that based on the Persians and then the Greek teachings that they learned while they were under their captivities. So it's not even an outgrowth of their own ideas.
Zoroastrianism
and the Greek idea of Hades. Either you go to Elysium or you go to Tartarus. And that idea was still in the first century with most of the writers of the well, first and second century, with the growth of Christianity up into the writings, which happened much later than people give it credit for. They were utilizing more of a Hellenistic Roman viewpoint of heaven and hell.
Yeah. So it definitely started to influence the Jewish thought, and like I said, the Christian thought.
Definitely that.
Yeah, so that's where it came from. Because you don't see none of that in Moses or anything. You would think Moses being such an important figure, if there was an afterlife and we were supposed to be worried about going to heaven or hell, that there'd be something in the law. I mean, not that Moses actually wrote the law, but even the people of that time period that wrote about the time period, there is absolutely not one iota of sense of anything about the afterlife.
Yeah, they were trying to in their mindset, getting their heaven was a now thing. You know, having a heavenly existence was something they were supposed to live in their life. And if they were good about it, then their lives would be extended and long, and they would have, all the pleasures of life during life. It wasn't this expectation of an afterlife. So you're right about that one. But I got a bunch of people in the queue, man. Let me see some of these other people. And my time gonna be short today, so let me. I gotta run through faster. I appreciate you, Lo, always. All right, I try to pay attention to as everybody was clicking to come up. Hopefully, it's still in the same order. Oh well, okay. One of them wasn't there. Oh shit, neither one of them. They both dropped. I cut Low off. Let's see. I saw some comments. Oh, by the way, definitely I read comments when people do super chats, and I want to go ahead and thank people for super chats on YouTube. Thank all the members and the people on the fan club. Thank you guys very much for being here. I know Trauma said I should do a health show. I'm not. Even though I could do one because I do have a background in that, but yeah, I'm gonna do that while I'm smoking my cigar. Yeah, you know what kind of hell I catch for that one. All right, so let's see what else we got here. I ain't got my reading glasses on. So I know some of these comments, I'm only paying attention to comments that are about the subject matter. All right, all this who created us comments and all that bullshit, that has nothing to do with the conversation today. I'm going to become a stickler on sticking with the subject. So for all these Christians who are over here on TikTok, and I haven't seen much on YouTube and Facebook, where's your what's the proof that your God has greater morals than we do? What is it about your God that you think that his morality is a greater morality than our current morality? Not to say our current morality is perfect. It's not. That's why, because morality is subjective. Oh, it does. Atheists are more moral than God. That makes a whole bunch of sense. You have reading comprehensions. Atheists are more moral than God. I thought maybe I had a typo, because I will have a typo up there, so I check myself first. But if we look at the current state of the world, the morality of the overwhelming majority of atheists is a higher morality, and I forgot to put the subject matter up for you guys over here, is a higher grade of morality than the morality for God, that the God of the Bible shows. If we were to follow the morality of this God, what would the world look like? So I know I don't have as many Christians on here right now, I'm guessing, or they're too afraid to come up, even though their Bible says that they should always be prepared to come up and respectfully talk about their God. What would the world look like if the God of the Bible, if we followed the God of the Bible? That's Would there have been an end to slavery? Would women have the right to vote? Would child labor laws be enforced that we have today? Would the, and I know you guys aren't military like I am, would the Geneva Convention, which is a convention that dictates how we fight, how we are to conduct ourselves while we fight wars, would those Geneva Conventions have been adopted? Meaning that in the Geneva Convention, you cannot and are not permitted to just arbitrarily kill non-combatants. You cannot commit genocide. Would women be able to divorce men? If we follow the laws of the Bible, the morals of the Bible, what would be the stance on some of those points? What would it mean? What would that life look like? I didn't say militant, Kevin. I said military. I need some of these Christians to come and tell me what would life look like if we followed the morals of the Bible, and would they be okay with that? Would you be okay with being a slave if we follow the morals of the Bible? Would it be okay to go around and kill people who believe have a different belief system than yours? Would that be okay? Can we kill these people? Can we genocide, the people in Iran, people in Russia, the people, in who practice Ifa? Can we go and kill those people? That's the question. Applause. What's your name? So we just hitting stuff. A pleasure. Apple user. Oh, Apple user 9. Apple user 9, are you there? Apple user 9. Apple user 9. Apple user 9 going once. Apple user 9 going twice. Apple user 9 going 3 times and disconnected. That's why you need a Samsung. I don't know. They probably hit it by accident. I think the Christians don't have a point to stand on, and that's why they're not coming up, because they know if you cannot read the Bible and say that you're going to follow it and walk away thinking that you're going to have this great morality. That's why here in Texas, the reading list for the Bible that they're trying to have instituted into the school systems in 2030 is cherry picked like a champion. I mean, that thing is so severely cherry picked that it excludes all the horrific things that are within the Bible. Lance. You there, Lance?
Yeah.
Pretty good. How old are you, Lance, for TikTok purposes?
54.
50? Oh, we both 54. All right. When do you turn 55?
We know the exact stuff.
When do you turn 55?
Oh, man. April 6th.
April. Okay, so you got another year almost. It's just a thing with me. I've been waiting since I was a kid to turn 55. Because when I was like 10 years old, I met this man and I asked him, like, how old are you? And he said, I'm 55. And I've been waiting to say I'm 55. It's stupid. It's just dumb. But anyway, what's your stance? Where do you stand on the topic? Oh shit, he gone. Something happened to Lance. I don't know what Lance's stance was, so I can't say anything about Lance's stance. Wait a minute, he's coming back. Lance.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think it just got kicked out.
You all right?
Yeah, this has been a real. It's an interesting question, and I stopped because over the last 7 or 8 years, I've gone through a titanic shift from being ideological to being moral and operating purely out of a moral framework. And it's given me insane clarity over this very topic. And so, yeah, I wanted to pop in and just banter a little back and find out your thoughts and share my thoughts. And we're going to start.
Well, are you, did this clarity come from being a part of the religion or walking away from the religion?
So I started off with no religion. My mom was Christian. My dad was George Carlin Catholic. So my relationship to religion was seeking. I wanted answers. I wanted to connect with a higher power. I wanted to know where I'm going when I die. And maybe over the course of about 30 years, I went through pursuing multiple religions, realizing that they didn't have the answers I was looking for. Switched over to science, realized that didn't have the answers I was looking for. Clarity, but no answers. And right around the time that COVID hit, I went inside and just decided to take on the work myself. And it was like a rocket ship. For about 2 years, I went on a very deep dive to remove all the things that weren't me. And then what was left was very clear perspective of what I am, what other people are, and what keeps us connected and what separates us.
All right.
So your topic is like, it's perfect for this conversation.
All right. So I hear what you're saying, but I need you to simplify that. So what path do you follow? Like, is there a title for it, or is not a title? Like, how would you describe it?
It's my own philosophy right now from my experience, and this is what I look at things through now. Which, if a person's science-minded, then my starting conversation is, are you familiar with the unified field of energy? They all say yes because they're science-minded. So my next thought is, well, anything born in that is it? Whether it's God, Shiva, the Brahmin, a rock, a bird, a chair, me or you. That the expression of it energetically, you can describe everything around us. But when I look at the soul, the universe works in like polar opposites. So we've got the macro side of the energy, which is the big thing that we can't wrap our heads around. But then I realized that the soul acts like a collapsed form. It's like a wrinkle within that space, and it acts as a polar opposite energy. And so once I started just deconstructing the soul, it attunes to the heart, the signature of the heart, that little spark.
Okay. So it sounds, I'm trying to just narrow it down and make it simple. So it's sounding like you're talking about closer to a agnostic viewpoint, but is it with a God source or without a God source?
Yeah, it's like everyone is God. There is nothing but God, and that the masks of our personality, the conditioning of our ego, is what separates that recognition. And so dissolving the ego opens up the kind of truth to things, for lack of better words. And then the simple realization is everyone is God, and we just don't know. We're not able to see it in real time.
Okay. So, all right. So the way I can organize this in my mind is that it's kind of like Hermeticism and Buddhism mixed together.
Yeah, they all have facets of truth. That's the problem, is that there's elements that you can put your fingers on that, from a hermetic side, the description of energy is true. From the religious frameworks side, like, Jesus's framework was love, compassion, and forgiveness. Buddha's framework was awareness and empathy.
Well,
Muhammad's framework was duty.
I wouldn't necessarily say Jesus' framework had a whole bunch of forgiveness in it, since he demonstrated, according to the workbook, he demonstrated what we would today call racism.
Oh, totally.
I mean, when he called the Sumerian woman a dog, simply because she was Sumerian. I mean, not Sumerian, the Canaanite woman a dog, simply because she's Canaanite, and still thought that the Israelites were the chosen people. That's not love. That's not a love of all humanity kind of mentality.
That's ignorance, by the way. I remember when I first heard it. So you'll remember this. Back in the 90s, when Farrakhan would pop on some of the talk shows, when I was young, I would see him and get repulsed because I had a lot of Jewish friends at the time. And I went back and listened to him maybe about a year ago. Same Donahue show up on YouTube. And as I'm listening to him through a new listening, what I'm hearing is he's telling the absolute truth, but people are uncomfortable with that truth. And that really opened my eyes to, how people see the truth, how they, people's level of truth is only to their level of understanding. And without those deeper spiritual experiences, it's just, all the conversations are just debate without truth, without firsthand experience.
Now, I have to go back and listen to some Farrakhan. I haven't listened to anything about Farrakhan since around 1991, 92.
Yeah.
I mean, I did want to go to the Million Man March, but I wasn't allowed to by my military unit. My military unit at the time was like, hell no, you ain't going. But but Farrakhan he had some good points and he had some bad points from my memory. I can't see that anytime you start separating people, you're gonna lose me. And that's where he lost me. I understood he was talking about the condition of the black people in America at that time frame, but being someone who had spent time in the Middle East by then, I recognized that a lot of the things he was talking about was wrong when it came to Islam. So I was a little leery about him, but I haven't listened to him since like probably 92 was the last time I listened to anything. I just wanted to go to the Million Man March. It wasn't about Farrakhan for me. It was about community and changing, trying to see what was going to happen with the black community at that time frame. But so the only thing that I would have to argue against is the idea of a soul. I can't necessarily say a soul exists, because even to this day, we don't really know what a soul is. We have about a bunch of dogmatic ideas of what a soul is, but that's been something that man has struggled with since the earliest ancient writings that we can find.
I can break it down from my experience. The frameworks that I've been building over the last several years, everything starts with the expression of the soul, meaning that as far as the operating system level of your experience, it is your inner awareness, right? And everybody's aware of their awareness. It's the thing that monitors and pays attention to the energies coming in through the senses. I can walk you through a handful of exercises really quick if you want to kind of like tap into a level of it. But basically, if you can, I want people typically through by closing their eyes, walking through their senses, and having them monitor individually what's coming in through each sense. And when we finally get to thought, I'm like, just, think I'm having a great day, but modulate the sound, play around with it, like really pay attention to the thought form. And when people, they're mucking around and they're like, yeah, so what? It's all the time. I'm like, you have something in your experience that it's if you think of it as a stack of processes, it's above feeling. It's above hearing. It's above smelling. It's above, it's above thought, right? So there's something that's aware of even the modulation of the thought form. That's your inner awareness. The soul itself, that's a collapsed wave function, basically meaning that it can't be subdivided into anything smaller. It's just, if you're a scientist, you may describe it as like a white hole in space. But basically, whatever's happening at that quantum level, it's just an inversion of energy.
So are you saying? Are you saying that everything has a soul?
I'm saying everything that's consciously aware has a soul.
Right. So that would be everything. I mean, there are different things exist. Things are operating on different conscious levels. So everything would then have a soul.
Yeah. So when I look at consciousness, I define consciousness as energy as information, from the subatomic to the galactic, meaning that if you have an aspect of your awareness that can read that, which you do, people do, insects do, animals do, then that's describing localized conscious awareness in that particular body mind. But a rock is not consciously aware, but it is consciousness. Right? It is made of subatomic particles and atoms and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, atoms are aware of themselves because, like, atoms are attracted. They can be attracted to certain other atoms, and they can be repelled, and they repel from other atoms. And so they have this it's not the level of reasoning. It don't have reasoning we don't understand it to have levels of reasoning that we would have. But the fact that we can see atoms repel and attract and recognize when they're being observed and act differently when they're being observed to when they're not being observed would indicate a certain level of consciousness is going on. Right. 100%. So then everything has a conscious. So then you would you're placing the consciousness as a soul.
I'm saying that everything it's consciousness. So everything is energy is information from a rock to a person. But a soul itself is the operating system. It's the lens at which God looks through. So when I look at the unified field of energy, I'm like, well, that's just behaviorally, that's God. It doesn't operate any different than the way every culture describes their version of God. And it has properties. It creates the energetic forces that we would call nature. It has energy as information. So there's consciousness. And if we're made of it, like we're set down from subtle energies to form, that the soul is on the most subtle end. And it attunes to the signature of the heart, that spark that makes the heart go into its rhythm.
So would you describe this God as having a consciousness? Like that interacts with everybody and does things? Or is it just in existence?
I would say, so I had self-realization about 4 years ago, and it was the most fucking mind-bending experience. And 2 seconds after I had it, I started laughing because I'm like, it can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. And the realization is that, if we're in a unified field and all souls are a collapsed waveform within that field, then I can see you and me, I can see 10 other people in me, I can see all the people on the planet in me, because all the souls are connected to the same field. Like there is the illusion. The illusion is separation.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking is, when you use the term God, are you saying that there is some higher creative being that interacts with mankind and all this sort of thing? Or is God more like how the Gnostics describe the Pleroma, or the Hermetics describes the all as just being the all, not doing shit with human? He created simply because it created, but it's not will to create. It doesn't require worship, and there's no heaven hells that it punishes you to or rewards you to. It just exists, and you pretty much formulate your own ideas.
So there are universal laws that come out of Hermeticism all the way up to like the Kabbalah from or the Kabbalah from like the early 1900s, and those, when I put my nerd hat on and read it, it's just describing energy and the behavior of energy. And so the things you were touching in on, right? The fourth universal law is like attracts like, right? And this happens from the subatomic to the galactic to our best friends, right? The third universal law is, and I forget the title of it, but it's effectively as above, so below, as within, so without.
Law of correspondence. That's the law of correspondence.
Right? And it's describing that what happens on the psychophysiological, psychospiritual, it starts local and it expands through your consciousness out to the field, and then vice versa.
Right.
It's a pretty elegant system. Yeah, it's a super elegant system, but it's basically all one system.
No, I understand what I truly can empathize with you on the experience of what you went through. It was similar to the experience I went through when I really dug deep into Hermeticism, and I was digging deep into Hermeticism and the Tao at the same time, and they very closely correlate to one another. The Tao is like, I don't know if you've ever read the Tao yet. Have you read that one? Yeah.
Oh no, I know of the Tao. I don't know if I read too many specific books on the Tao.
Well, I just read the Tao. I didn't want to read anybody else's books. I read his 81 sayings and meditated on his 81 sayings without the instructions of other people or thought processes of other people, just what Lao Tzu supposedly wrote. And I saw that his ideology closely correlates to the Hermetic laws, the Hermetic viewpoint, and not just reading. Many people, when they read the Hermetics, they'll read that little book. What is it called? I forgot what the little book is called, but I read the Hermeticum. The Corpus Hermeticum is the primary. And, you still get everything, but you got a lot of great detail. It does have some, gods and lords kind of thing in it. But when you take that to the level of saying that, okay, the law of correspondence, as above, so below. What things that you do in the below are the same things that you can do in the above, and they affect one another. But my only issue is that we don't know. So like, we don't know if your consciousness stays intact when you leave this body form. No one has came from a higher plane of existence, from the spiritual realm, as they call it in Hermetics, to the matter realm, to say, hey, there is this spiritual realm. In this realm, you'll still have the same laws, but you're just understanding them and dealing with them on a higher level. And even above spiritual realm C, there's spiritual realm B, spiritual realm A, and it goes on forever and ever in different levels of higher growth, or you can go lower growth, right? I want to
challenge you on the entire framework that you're using right now, because if you know the soul is an expression of the entire field, then your intuition can be used to read the entire field. In other words, and I know you already know this. I'm already impressed with you. That you can use your intuition to read the metaphysical and kind of naturally deduce things, and that the awareness itself will only expand when it touches truth. Otherwise, it gets wrapped up in concepts.
Right.
And so you've done the super deep dive, and I know that you can see things that most people can't see, and I know you can intuit most things that most people can't intuit. And so I'm really saying that the soul operates as a lens of kind of like pure energy that allows source to look through and operate directly through you. So that's why I want to start, and that the journey of the soul in a contiguous field of energy as an object that can't be subdivided, but it can include weight, limiting beliefs like kind of compress the soul, that you can kind of naturally infer what happens to the soul's journey after it's dropped the body and it's kind of shed some of its, energetic impressions, that it still has to attune to another body mind. And that's the cycle until it expands beyond, I don't know, whatever register the heart operates at. It has to move past that because its energetic field itself is no longer at that lower range.
No, I do understand what you're saying, and I get it. My difficulty in this is, so I know that there are things that I know that there are things and there are abilities and there are that we can connect with here in this matter plane that we would say is superhuman, right? And this would be, and we would say that is connecting on another realm. I've often heard people say, well, you're connecting on another realm when you're able to do things that are superhuman. But for me, it's like, no, we're not connecting on another realm. We're just that those people who have demonstrated what we would call superhuman abilities are just people who have realized that there's more that we can do on this plane, and that we've been given these limited beliefs. But then there are other things that I don't care how limited or how unlimited your belief is, you're not just going to fly. You're not just going to jump in the ocean and be able to breathe. You know what I mean? Like your physiology is just not going to surpass those types of limitations. So we do have limitations on this matter plane, but we haven't reached them yet. There are certain areas we haven't reached those limitations. Like we should be able to communicate with each other without speaking. Since we know that our thoughts are energy and they travel and people can receive those thoughts, we know that we can do that, but we haven't really got to the functionality where we can do it without thought, because we've been told we can't do it. But when it comes to things that are beyond this matter realm, there's no proof of it. And that's where I get stuck. And then I don't categorize it as the soul because I'm not sure, is it a soul? And we're probably just, what I call the consciousness is probably what you're calling the soul. Right?
No, totally different.
I just don't know if this consciousness exists in its intact form when it leaves this body.
When I realized the power of what limiting beliefs were doing, I mean, most of my life I've spent in engineering land, like thinking logically, thinking rationally. And when I started getting into letting things go as a practice, I hit multiple barriers. The first barrier that I hit, and it was most painful, is that I kept trying to filter the spiritual experience through logic. And so finally, I'm like, okay, I see the problem now. I keep trying to, take something that's experiential and funnel it through physics and psychology and all this fucking crap that we have created. And I'm like, okay, so I've got to let go of believing on logical, rational, that should make sense, right? I have to dump all that stuff out. And then my mind was able to move beyond it. It's like, okay, you've dropped that trap. Now you can keep going. And then I was like, okay, so what are the next things? Well, if the koshas are telling you that you're not physical, you're not mental, you're not energetic, as I kept going through that, I'm like, well, what other words do I keep ascribing to myself? Because I would never say that I was an awareness or soul until I started getting into a spiritual practice. But those are also linguistic traps. So I had to let go of believing I was an awareness, that I was a soul, that I was God, that I was physical. I dumped all that shit out. And the only thing that was left was the mind going, all right, smartass, you've released all this stuff, right? All the mental conditioning that you've had impressed upon you. That's shortly right after that. I'm like, I don't have other words to describe the total sum of energy. I didn't have a word for it. And right after that is when the realization hit. And so I think the challenge is, babies come into this world with their powers already turned on, right? They're not conditioned. Their nervous system is collapsed. They love unconditionally. They understand justice. When, you give one kid a cookie and another kid not a cookie, even when they're really young. So we have our powers intact, but we don't have the words for it. And then by the time we're at preschool, we're getting the snot kicked out of us. Teachers are yelling at us, right? And then we're a basket case by the time we're in junior high school. You know, and so like we're becoming a character as opposed to fully expressed, I don't know, physical rendition of the field. And so now I look at it as the full causal loop, the full fucking causal loop that I broke it down is the macro field. You can put it as God or Shiva, source, whatever word you want to put it as. The universal laws are already going to tell you that it's going to have two behaviors. So on one end is the smallest unit, on the other end is the largest unit. So we understand macro and micro. That the soul has to attune to a body-mind complex. That the nervous system is the two-way communication. It's like a copper wiring for electronics. It's the send receive. The stress response and the myelin sheath over the nerves creates almost like a negative feedback. And then once the inflammation builds up, it completely collapses the nerve and then cuts you off from your higher purpose and kind of like it narrows your focus on awareness. So the work that I've been doing over the last 4 years is like literally just leading people out of their misery. And they all invariably come to the same spot, which is they didn't have a spiritual connection that they have now. They didn't have a sense of self because they were operating without ego, and now they see the difference and they can see it in other people. And so kind of like getting to the point of your thread here, I realized that I used to be ideological, and that was a problem. And for the last 2 years, I saw that the Ascended Masters all had a framework. I started moving in that direction every single day. There's about 24 different kind of moral impressions that need to be observed. But my nervous system in 2 years hasn't gone down to dysregulated. And it's finely tuned for truth. Like when I hear somebody like admit the truth, they don't even lie, they're just leaving out the truth. My body's like, yeah, there's something going on here. So I'm fully dialed into the purpose of the moral framework, the why it's important, why ideology sucks because it's just bias and ego, and then the causal loop from the soul's journey through the physical and how it connects to the macro field. That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
But, I know you get it.
And let me ask you this simple question, then I'm gonna let some other people get on, because I already think I know what your answer is going to be, but I'd rather ask.
Please do.
So would you say that your moral framework is greater than the moral framework of any of the gods of any of these books, especially the Bible?
100%.
There it is. Because I know the journey that you went through and that you're on. I get it. I understand it. And at the end of it, when it comes to this subject matter, you cannot reach any levels of the level that you are talking about. Enlightenment can't be reached following the Bible. Yeah.
It's hard. I don't say it's impossible.
No, it's impossible.
I'll definitely say
It's impossible.
Yeah.
You can't.
Here's where I'll go with that. The framework that Jesus brought was love. And Rumi was a devotee of love, right? So Rumi became enlightened purely through love, as it sounds like Christ did too, right? So when I look at, what's the value of love is that it alchemizes everything except for will. Will is the only thing that will change the planet. Love will alchemize all the stress patterns.
I'm with you.
So,
except for the Jesus part. I'm with you except for the Jesus part.
I just think it's a slow route, right? I don't look at Jesus as like the end all be all. I look at him as a teacher like Buddha and Rama.
Yeah, but he was a horrible teacher. He was a horrible teacher. He's a horrible teacher. I came to split the father and the son, the mother and the daughter. No, he's a horrible teacher. I'm gonna cast some of y'all in hell. He's a horrible teacher.
Yeah, my whole thing with him is this: both him and Muhammad, they both saw themselves as the door, and I'm like, no, that's false. Yeah. Everyone's the door.
Yeah,
and everyone has a key. They just gotta open the door.
Yeah, they're terrible. Absolutely terrible. they segregate and separate people. And at least in the Buddhist and the Hindu, you can go round and round and round until you get there. Yeah, you fuck it up, come back again, do it again, come up, come back and do it again. At least there's no eternal punishment that they're trying to send you to because you didn't choose their pathway. You know, so now Jesus can kick rocks. He's not love. Jesus is not love. He's immoral, just as immoral, and he's supposed to be the God of the Old Testament. He's immoral as hell. But let me get to these other people, man.
Yeah, thanks for your time. It's been a real pleasure.
All right, appreciate you, Lance.
Same.
I don't know who was actually next. I'm just hitting stuff. Lance got a bunch of birds in the background. I meant to ask him that. Like, is he in a is those his birds or he in a pet shop? Lance, if you're still on the thing, let me know. Is that a pet shop or something? Or you just like birds? For everybody who request on, I only do one person at a time. So if you don't have the patience for that, then oh well. I guess none of those people had the patience for my one person at a time scenarios. I understand what Lance is saying, and I remember I went through that probably about I was there about 10 years ago. I was where Lance is right now, and it actually helped me resolve a lot of the, studying Hermeticism, Buddha, the Tao, Remy. It helped me resolve a lot of the prejudices that I carried throughout the majority of my life that I had learned from society. It helped me to become a more moral person. Prejudices towards women, towards race, different races, towards nationalities. The Bible could have never gotten me out of all of that. It was that study that did. Now, even a person who reads the Bible and says that they don't have issues against women, they don't have issues against, different races, they still hold the one issue that they will still hold and maintain is that you can only get to heaven through their God and you will be punished for all eternity. That is the hardest thing that they will never be able to get over because of their belief in this Jesus character. And as long as you believe in this Jesus character, you will always, as they stay in Christianity, fall short of the glory of enlightenment. The enlightenment that the Buddha talked about, that Lao Tzu talked about, you will always fall short of that and never reach full enlightenment. This is why in Buddhism, for the Buddhists who do look at Jesus as a teacher, a fellow Buddha, and there's not a lot of them. Most of the Buddhist sect do not teach that, just the westernized versions. They place Christ consciousness well below the Buddha head, the Buddha mind. Christ consciousness is like level 4, and the Buddha mind is like level 9, 8, 9. So it's like you got to elevate your consciousness so much more higher to reach the Buddha mind compared to the Christ mind. So that whole Jesus is just not good. Just not good. It's just not good at all. So, but we're talking morals here. What is the connection between the atheist movement, cultural Marxism, and homosexuality? I wouldn't necessarily say there's a connection there. You'd have to come up and describe what connection you're talking about. I'm not going to guess at your statement. Unpopular.
What's up?
How you doing? You over 21?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty good. Are you a believer of any religion?
Yeah, I believe in God.
Which one?
I believe in the Bible.
Okay. All right. Old Testament and New Testament?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the New Testament and the New Covenant came for a reason, like it says. So we don't take Old Testament customs into account today. And even though some weren't even applied back then, but yeah, I believe that the New Covenant overrides the Old Covenant. That's why it was made.
Okay, so even if I gave you that, how is it justifiable that that there was a time frame where the God of the Bible was doing all the Old Testament stuff, and that makes him moral?
one, we have to establish moral.
Can you speak up a little bit?
I said, for one, we would have to establish what's actually moral, because from your perspective, and let me ask first of all, I assume you're atheist, right?
Sure.
Is that accurate, or
It'd be accurate.
did you say it could be?
I say it's accurate.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, so moral means to, have principalities of good and wrong, and either society or an individual makes up those reasons of what's right and wrong.
Mhm.
So, from your perspective, if you're an atheist, you don't have to listen to anybody but yourself. So
That's not true.
Comes from.
That's not true.
So where does your morality come from?
Any atheists in every country are not the same, simply because your morality is the group agreement of where the culture and the nation and people that you're around.
Exactly.
Right. And
So
then
where
wait,
does it come from?
and then you have the ability to decide certain aspects of the group, whether or not you agree or disagree. So it comes from yourself. At the end of the day, it's going to come from yourself.
Yeah, so as I was saying, your morality comes from you, right?
Yeah, you and all your experiences and your perceptions of the world and what you have learned and how you think.
Exactly. So you are able to create your own sense of what's right and wrong. There was another fellow, I don't want to say fellow like he's your friend, but there was another atheist, Joseph Stalin, who had his own morality, and he killed over 20 million people. So I think you can't say that he's wrong if you would then say that morality comes from the person, whereas I would say it comes from God. I believe that morality is based on God. You believe it's based individually. So my question is, how can you then say that certain things are wrong?
Because from my perspective, Joseph Stalin is wrong. He was wrong in the same way. I know, because Christians like that. There is no such thing as objective morality. But the overwhelming majority of people in today's world, regardless of religion, for the most part, will say that Joseph Stalin was wrong. In the same way that because y'all like to throw Joseph Stalin in there and Mao in there, but in the same way, we would look at King Leopold, who was Christian, and he killed almost 30 million people in the Congo. Was he wrong?
Yeah, but this is the difference. We actually have a standard of morality from God where murder unrighteously is wrong.
So
you can't, like you just said, you can't subjectively, wholeheartedly say Joseph Stalin was wrong.
When did God say that genocide is wrong?
But did you hear that point? You can't even subjectively say that.
No, I can subjectively. Because I ignored that point because like literally less than 30 seconds earlier, I said that he is subjectively wrong. So if I say it, then he is. Then from my perspective, he's subjectively wrong. So
you can't objectively say it.
There is no such thing. There's no such thing as objective morality. I said that 30 seconds ago as well.
There is the Christians, though, not the atheists.
So okay, so when does the Bible say that genociding anyone is wrong?
The 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill.
So when God told them to go and genocide the Ammonites and to kill all the men, kill all the women, except the women who've known a man, the Ammonites, when he told them to go and genocide those people, was he right or wrong?
I just want to be accurate, though. The Canaanites?
Well, see, there are multiple times. So he said it to the Canaanites. So when you look at the story of Joshua going into Jericho, in that story, all the Canaanites in Jericho were killed. Men, women, children, and the animals, everything genocide. Same thing with Ai and many other cities that they claim to have conquered. Is that morally, so your God committed genocide? Was that wrong or right?
I already said the person who was a Christian who committed genocide, he did it unrighteously. God didn't command him to do this. Because let me clarify something. God can do things and it could be righteous. Like, for example, even though it says thou shalt not kill, it's talking about do not kill unrighteously, right? But there's times where God commands us to go to war with evil forces, with evil people, and even to defend ourselves.
Okay, so
you can, let me finish. So you can. The difference is that when God commands to do something, it's righteous. The same way that we did. I think you would agree that if Hitler would have been caught and given the death sentence, that's righteous. He should have died, right? Now somebody murdered innocently, that's an unrighteous killing. So when God commanded us, or not us, but when he commanded to kill the Canaanites, I hope you realize the Canaanites were evil people. They used to sacrifice babies and burn them alive. And they had all type of wicked traditions that went on.
Come on, man. Come on. Have you done any study on that whatsoever?
That's why they were commanded to be killed.
Have you done any study on that one? Yeah, well, actually, I can tell that you haven't done much study deep beyond what the biblical apologist teaches.
You can't tell.
Yes, I can. I can tell by what you're saying and the dogmatic doctrinal things that you're bringing up.
Is that true?
So, you know, I paused and let you talk, right? So first, I'm gonna go all the way back to your 10 Commandments. If you look at the 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments were laws that was written for the children of Israel. They were written for the Israelites. Those who they were written for. Moses specifically said they were for the Israelites. Later on, when you get to Jesus, Jesus tells the Israelites, he didn't tell anybody else, not the Canaanites or anyone else. He told the Israelites, you are to follow. The Pharisees sit on the throne of Moses, and so do what they teach you, just don't do what they do, because they were being hypocrites. So, and then when he told that Canaanite woman, this bread is for the Israelites, it's not for you dogs. So the 10 Commandments are not for everyone. They weren't written for everyone. So when it says do not kill, it is saying do not kill your fellow Israelites. It does not apply. No, I'm not adding. This is
say don't kill your fellow Israelite, or you adding that?
If you read it, okay. If the laws of, no, I'm not adding. As you keep it, see, now here we go again. I let you go through a diatribe, didn't interrupt, let you talk about multiple subjects. You brought up multiple things, did not interrupt. As I'm answering the multiple things you brought up, you're interrupting.
Well, I do want to clarify that.
But you asked me to not interrupt you because I wanted to make clarifications.
You're right, respect, bro. My fault. Go ahead.
All right. So when you read the Old Testament, every law, every ritual, everything is written for the Israelites, which is why in biblical studies, it is said to be righteous for the Israelites to genocide the people of the Canaanites and the Amorites and the Ammonites. It is righteous and the Jebusites and all the other ites. It's righteous for them to do that because they were following this God's command in similar fashion to them taking people, and you can make slaves, property slaves, chattel slavery of other tribes, but not your fellow Israelites. You can treat them harshly, but not your fellow Israelites. It states that clearly it states it clearly in the Bible, and as well as the study of the Bible. Now, so in that format, you cannot take your 10 Commandments and spread that to everybody else, because it doesn't work, because it wasn't written for everyone else. When you speak of people being given commands by God to go and genocide people, you actually have no way of knowing whether Leopold was given a command by God to go and genocide the people of the Congo, because according to Leopold and his preachers, his priest, he was doing this by the command of God. The transatlantic slavery was the commandment of God, based on God. The wars that they fought, this is why in their treaties they invoke God in all their treaties and their documents during those time frames, because they read the Bible, understood it to think that they were doing God's command. And even your guy Hitler thought that he was doing, no, not your specific guy, but even Hitler thought that he was doing God's work. So how do you know whether or not someone is doing God's work or not?
So let me respond to that. It was kind of a lot. One is that I would say that you were wrong on the Israel thing, because there's several passages in the Bible. I could get it.
You went up, you blinked off. I can't hear you if you're talking.
I was going to the Bible verse real quick. It's Exodus 12:48. And there's a bunch of other passages that talk about how other nations can join in to Israel. So you're saying all this like we have the right to.
Okay. Do you hear what you're saying? No, we're gonna start with that. We're gonna dispense. No, sir. Because you know what? Here's the thing. No, I understand. I understand, but you know what? For the sanctity of the show, I don't want to do all these long diatribes. You say it, you bring up Exodus 12, right? And where other people can join the Israelites. So therein lies the problem, where you can join. It's still indicating you have to become or be an Israelite in order to be under this rule, this covenant. So they don't extend to everybody else.
For a quick example, right? You have to accept Jesus to get the reward of Jesus. It's the same thing. You have to take in the customs of the people of the book and God's people to get the rewards of it.
Right. So it makes it okay to genocide people who don't believe what you believe.
No, now you're jumping somewhere else.
That's not. That's it.
Somewhere else.
I mean, chat. Am I crazy? Is he?
That's why you should have let me finish.
No, I can't because what you're saying is nonsense. You're double talking, because I am being respectful now, because I'm being respectful to my audience, because you are contradicting your own statements. Because when you go from these laws are written for everybody, the 10 Commandments, to, well, if you join us, then you are covered under those laws. Are you covered under those laws if you're outside of the Israelites?
Like I said, you were trying to apply "thou shalt not kill" to only Israelites. That is false.
No, that's exactly what it says. It said these laws are for the Israelites.
Thou shalt not kill fellow Israelites.
You know, it doesn't say that explicitly, but when Moses came down, from with the 10 Commandments, who was he giving them to the world? Was Moses giving those to the world?
You said, you want to keep like running on. You don't want to let me respond, actually.
Because you're responding. Your response is idiotic. Was Moses giving the 10 Commandments to the whole world? Was Moses giving the 10 Commandments to the whole world?
If they were, can you give me an example? If they were given to the Canaanites,
it's a yes or no.
Thrown them away
because
they were sacrificing.
And as my grandfather would have said, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Did they even go to the people of Jericho to give them to? Did they go to Jericho to give them the 10 Commandments?
That's why they weren't given to evil people.
So you're adding to it. How do you know they were evil? How do you know they were evil?
Canaanites were evil.
What Canaanite information?
Sacrificing babies, evil.
Oh, yeah, the Israelites sacrifice babies. What are you talking about?
When did the Israelites sacrifice babies?
The Israelites were told to give your firstborns in the same way that you give your cattle. And then it is later Jeremiah and Ezekiel who try to make a change on that. But originally, before you get to the Babylonian captivities and the Assyrian captivity, it was customary for Israelites to give their firstborn.
Can you give that Bible verse?
Hold on for a second, because I don't keep these things in my memory.
I'm sure you don't.
No, we don't have to. We got ways of looking things up.
And once again, you wanted to run to the Bible, but you still haven't justified your morality. How you gonna complain about something and you can't justify it?
I already justified my morality.
You already said that morality is not objective.
Why?
So who are you to sit here and pick of what's wrong and right now?
I'm me. To me, it is a person with a lack within themselves who needs something outside themselves to tell them what's right and what's wrong.
Once again, to you.
Right.
To you. What about the other person? You can't even objectively tell them they're wrong.
That's weakness. That's weakness. That's like a man who sits up there and says that, well, I can't make a decision on how to take care of my family unless somebody outside of myself tell me how to take care of my family. That's sad.
see how you're trying to move the goalposts?
Now, I didn't move the goalpost.
Where you get your morality from other than you. So you can't say Joseph Stalin was objectively wrong. Just to you it was.
See, I like how you use objective when I've told you that there's no objective moralities that don't exist.
So once again, so that means you can't objectively 100% say that Joseph Stalin was wrong.
And you
just think it was.
And you can't
right?
You can't objectively say that he was wrong either. Can you objectively say?
Is that true though?
Do you have listening comprehension issues? I said way back. I said way back that Joseph Stalin is wrong. Now, subjectively, because there are no objective moralities.
You just proved my point. Thank you.
Prove an objective morality.
I can say he's objectively.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I can.
No, let me tell you why you cannot say he's objectively wrong. And there it is. There it is. You're saying he's wrong based on your God, whereas someone with a different God can say that he's right. Can someone who believes in a different, can someone with a different belief say that he's right?
Can someone with a different belief?
Yeah, can someone with a different belief system, a different God, say that Joseph Stalin was right?
Not objectively.
Why not? They have a God. They believe in their God.
Because we can show that they don't worship the true God.
How can you prove that your God is the true God? Prove that your God is the true God.
I could point you to the historical evidence.
What historical evidence that your God exists?
If God said something in the Bible, and then you find that. Let me before I go into the facts, because believe me, that's not a problem. I just want to clarify something before I do. I want to make sure I'm not wasting my time.
Well, if you're going to repeat the same shit you've been saying about objective and subjective, then you're wasting your time.
I'm not. I'm going into the evidence now. But I want to clarify something before I do. If God says something in the Bible and you go out into the world and see that is actually true, would that increase the probability that God is true? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so there's no point in me telling you historical evidence from the Bible. You're just gonna say,
well,
oh,
the reason why I say that, because there are.
You got a hardened heart, bro. There's nothing that can change you.
Oh my gosh. The reason why I say that is because the moment you say that, I can give you a demonstration of something else or somebody else or some other God doing the exact same thing. So it doesn't prove that that God is true.
Okay, let's try it. You heard Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see that there's a, so Sodom and Gomorrah, God said that he reigned upon it after these people did a bunch of evil things for years to righteously judge them, right? He did multiple plagues there, but one of them was it rained sulfur, right? Did you know and this is a YouTube video. If you give me like 5 minutes, I could probably find it.
I'm not giving you 5 minutes. There are too many other people waiting. I'm not giving 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. But so in that case, you got to take my word. Then I have no reason to lie. People have gone to Sodom and Gomorrah, and there's millions of sulfur balls there, like it says in the Bible.
Which one?
How do you explain that, bro?
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Which one? Because when I was in Israel, I went to 2 different sites that are claimed to be Sodom and Gomorrah.
The place where it says it in the Bible.
So
simply as that.
Yeah. So that doesn't demonstrate Sodom and Gomorrah happened, because
it doesn't.
No, actually, astronomy. So astronomically, those sulfur balls are more than likely got there because of a meteor above ground meteorite strike.
A meteor rained millions of sulfur balls exactly in the spot God said it rained millions of sulfur balls. That's what you believe?
Yeah, because the astrometric hold on, let me finish. The astrometric data demonstrates that a meteorite at some point in time, but well before this story was written, exploded over that area, and that other civilizations, i.e. the Akkadian Sumerians, wrote about a similar story of God, their God, destroying these cities and raining down hellfire above them, and turning things into salt and sulfur and all this sort of thing. So this story is written a long time prior to the biblical narrative ever being written. And then the biblical narrative, which wasn't even written until around 600 BCE, was merely a copy of those previous stories.
So you're now flipping to this just isn't a story of the Bible. It's another story.
Yeah, somebody else. It's somebody else's story, and scientifically.
That meteor theory sounds kind of crazy. So you think that salt falls out in space?
Oh my gosh.
You think that salt
Okay,
falls out in space?
have you ever been to? Do you know what's sitting right there where the Sodom and Gomorrah story happened? You know what's sitting right there? Yeah, what's sitting there is called the Dead Sea. You know why it's called the Dead Sea? Because it has the highest concentration of salt in it. If you lie in it, you will float. If you get some of it in your eyes, like I did, it will burn the shit out your eyes because of the high salt content. It's literally salt pillars sticking up out of there, sticking out of that water in some parts of it. So if you have a high intense explosion in that area, that's going to immediately evaporate a lot of that water and the sulfur. You get sulfur balls. They're not coming from space.
Salt and sulfur are completely different.
But also with the rock material and everything, you're gonna get salt. You're gonna get salt. You're gonna get sulfur, and sulfur and salt are connected to one another. We don't know what you're talking about.
But they're still completely different. They're not the same thing. It has to change into sulfur.
Look, I know where you get your information. Look, you're getting your proof of that Sodom and Gomorrah from Ron Wyatt, and Ron Wyatt has been debunked so many times it's not even funny. Ron Wyatt is the absolute worst. That is not what I said. I said that there.
When you said it got debunked, what did you mean by that?
Ron Wyatt? Oh, Ron Wyatt shit been debunked 11 times. But the story's been debunked.
I don't know if it's Ron Wyatt.
It is. Ron Wyatt is the only one who claimed that, and then the people of Jordan and the people of Israel both claim this site, these two different sites, to be the place that it happened, and it's a tourist trap. Been there. I've been to both of them twice. And
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, so that's not a proof text, because we also see the older stories written about a similar situation in the similar area, written by previous civilizations before there ever was the mentioning of an Israelite, and certainly before these stories were written down by the people who would become who would start the Jewish religion. So when you got an older story, you don't, huh?
I guess you can say that. That's a nice little shimmy out of it.
No, that's not a shimmy out of it. That's, I'm not saying that's a truth.
When the sea split and when the Israelites and the Egyptians were following through, and then how later in that same place they find Egyptian chariot wheels.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna need you to stop listening to Ron Wyatt based videos. No, Ron Wyatt never. I said Ron Wyatt based. I'm not saying his actual video. But here's the thing: no chariot wheels have been found. That's another one of just it didn't happen. No, something seriously. It just didn't happen. Okay. Lying. First of all, no, you're not lying. You're just believing something that somebody else made up. You're not lying. You're just believing what somebody else lied about. So okay. Hold on. No. Before you skip, one, no chariot wheels were found in the Gulf of Aqaba. First of all, no chariot wheels were found. Those are Ron Wyatt claims. Ron Wyatt he never did an archaeological dig that was authorized by anybody. There was never any peer review of it. He wore the little suits, the underwater suits that wouldn't even go to the depths to which you would be able to go to the bottom of the Gulf of Aqaba. Then the other part about it is that there is absolutely zero historical information that demonstrates that there were ever a large number of Israelite slaves in Egypt, period. And that during that time frame, Egypt flourished. And if those catastrophes had happened during that time frame, Egypt would have collapsed. Their economy would have collapsed. But there's no evidence of any of that. Now, there is a writing that dates 2,500 years earlier than the supposed Exodus story that talks about some famines and things of that nature happening in Egypt. But that is anachronistic because it is way out of the time frame of any Moses story. And it does, and even in that story, that's when Semitic people came into Egypt, not departed from Egypt. So the Exodus never happened. There's zero historical accounts of the Exodus ever happening.
All right. say so. Once again.
I like your
So,
you say so.
Let's go somewhere else. Let's see what you got for this one. Now, everything is that didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's false.
I did. So you see how you twist? No. Let me tell you what. I'm
gonna see what you got.
I'm gonna tell you what you gotta. What you gonna have. I'm gonna tell you. I know. Let me give you a warning. Stop mistranslating. Stop misspeaking what I said. I never said this. I never said the Sodom and Gomorrah, that two cities were destroyed by something, by most likely what we most likely think is actual. I never said that didn't happen. Some civilization, some town got destroyed long before there was ever a Sodom and Gomorrah, but in the same similar region of that area. Now, I am saying the Israelite story, the Exodus story, never happened. So don't say that I keep saying that everything never happened. If you're gonna repeat me correctly.
First said that the sulfur all got there from some type of meteor or explosion.
Right. So is
Which
it
is not proven? That's what you think.
Does that mean that it never happened? If I'm saying that there are sulfur balls there, if I'm saying that there was some type of explosion that destroyed some city or town, am I saying that it never happened?
No, but what you are doing is creating some mystery story that's not proven on how that actually got there.
Oh, the mystery story is the fact that some other culture wrote about it 1,000+ years before the Israelites ever wrote about it.
Is that true? Can you show me that?
Yeah, there are other stories prior to that.
Can you show me that? And do they name it? They say Sodom and Gomorrah. They name the location.
The names are not going to be Sodom and Gomorrah.
So how would you trace it to that place?
But so I grew up in Marietta, Georgia, but long before I was born, it was called Marysville. Same place, different name.
Yeah, I'm just asking, how do you trace it? Like, is there proof that whatever they called it is that area?
Yeah, because they give, just like your Sodom and Gomorrah story, how it tells you that it's on what banks of the Dead Sea that it's set from and how far away and all those sorts of things. Those so they give the geological clues, which is that's how archaeologists go and they dig for stuff to find it.
All right, I'll wait for that.
Okay, so if you go and read the Epic of Gilgamesh and Atheist. This is the Sumerian version of the story that happens well before it is told before the Israelites.
Can you give me a quick summary of what they say?
So within the Atrahasis, before there is the flood that happens, the flood narrative similar to the Noah story that happens in the Mesopotamia, that happens in that the whole world flooding. Before that, it talks about the city that is destroyed. This God destroying two cities, and then an evil wind then going down. So there's a fight between the god Enlil and Enki. Well, the fight is between Enlil and Marduk, and this encompasses the Tower of Babel and the Sodom and Gomorrah story. And so Enlil sends a destructive kind of missile bomb to blow up his city, and it blows up two of Marduk's cities, and these were his major communication and supply hubs. And it blows up those two cities, and then a evil wind is what they call it, then floats down and destroys these other cities. But it turns things to ash and sulfur and all this stuff in the Atrahasis, in the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Atrahasis, which is a Babylonian story that is told that supposedly have happened around 3000 BCE.
You said before the flood, right? That's what you said.
No, I'm saying, well, no, this happens actually after the flood. First, you have
before the flood.
I'm right. I'm correcting myself. It actually happens after Atrahasis is saved from the flood, from the worldwide flood that happens in the Epic of Gilgamesh. So they have a similar
Can you
story.
show me any of this, man? Because you kind of all over the place.
I don't know how I can't bring it up. I can't.
You caught yourself right there.
I can't bring it up on my screen. I didn't catch myself. I just corrected myself. I'm not claiming to be perfect, but so you have the Atrahasis, the Epic of Gilgamesh. All you gotta do is go to like historical documents. There's a website called, I think it's Historical Texts or Ancient Texts, and they'll have a library of a bunch of different ancient texts. And these were found on tablets when they discovered the city of Nineveh, and they were all written in cuneiform. They found like over 200,000 tablets in the 1800s. And what they found on these, one of the main things they found on these tablets is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which tells of the story of Gilgamesh. Well, there's a lot that it talks about, but one of the main points is that Gilgamesh wants to find immortality, so he's told to go seek out Atrahasis. Atrahasis tells him about how the gods were going to flood the whole world, and Atrahasis was saved. You know, Enki comes and Ea comes and tell Atrahasis to build a boat and save some animals and a few other people, and then they restart civilization. And then they have this later on in the story. It talks about the war between Enki and Marduk, and how Marduk had built a tower in Babylon and these other two cities, and that Enki destroyed these two cities with fire from the sky, turning things to ash and sulfur. And then this evil wind then goes and destroys 7 other cities that are further down towards like Kuwait area in Mesopotamia, which we did find the archaeological evidence of these cities that looked like they were just abandoned for no reason. We don't know why they were abandoned, but it just looked like people just ran out the city for some reason. It doesn't look like a migration.
Can I chime in real quick? What I looked up right now didn't say anything about a Gilgamesh story involving a city being destroyed by a fire. It said there was a flood, and then it said after that there was, let me get the exact. There was battles and divine punishment. Never mentions anything about sulfur raining down. So I don't know where, maybe my source is wrong or yours is wrong, but it doesn't say anything about what you said.
No, I was looking at did you do a Google search?
I did a Google search, but then I clicked on the first link.
And the first link was what?
I gotta look it up again because I actually will. Give me a second.
So whatever source he's looking up, I don't know, but what he should read is the actual Atrahasis. I don't know what the link that he's talking about. And for those who are the time frame for the meteorite burst that is looked upon over the Dead Sea area, they're saying that the time frame was around. They said the time frame around 1650 BCE.
So this was arthistoryproject.com. It's one of the first links that popped up. Now I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to claim that that's the most accurate, but
yeah, I don't know that page.
But look, even the AI summarized it like that, and I clicked the link, and they summarized it like that. There's nothing about the city being destroyed with fire, especially not sulfur. So that's a completely different thing.
Okay, so one thing that I won't do, you can do it if you want to, is when you say that if it has to be the exact same story, then no one is going to tell the exact same story.
Well, major parts are missing in your story that would have to be written down. You said it was destroyed by fire. That's missing. So would you agree that that's a major contradiction? If one says it's destroyed by a flood, one says it's destroyed by fire, I don't think anybody in history could have written that wrong. Too big of a difference.
No, people can write some things that are different wrong. Like your Bible, Matthew hears an earthquake and nobody else have an earthquake.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let some other people up here, man. I think I've proven my point. You know, stand on your own point.
I don't think you've proven. You haven't proven that a God exists because, well, you're gonna believe that, and that's fine. We're good.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're good. Have a good one.
Honestly, I'm gonna pray for you.
And I'm gonna draw a salt circle and throw some shit over my shoulder for you.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work on me.
Well, that ain't gonna work on me either. So don't do your witchcraft. I won't do my witchcraft. How about that?
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
Hey man, you don't want to be in a relationship with a God that loves you.
Don't do your witchcraft. I won't do my witchcraft. Your God does not love me. Your God don't exist. Your God don't exist.
Bro, whatever happened to you to make you so hateful towards him?
I don't hate. That's a thing that y'all use to try to make it seem like somebody, just because they disagree with your God or
that's why you have to blame
your God's existence, is got to be hate. No, I just don't want you doing your witchcraft.
It's not witchcraft, bro.
We
against witchcraft.
That's no. Your witchcraft is no different than anybody else's witchcraft.
That's why witchcraft don't work on me.
So if a Muslim prays for you, is that witchcraft?
No, it's not witchcraft. He's praying to the wrong God.
He's
not praying.
But isn't that what witchcraft is? Is by doing incantations based on some other deity than your own?
It's the demons, though.
How? So you're saying they worship demons?
I didn't say that, did I? I said they worship the wrong God.
So the wrong God would be what?
They have an incorrect God. They're not worshiping a demon.
So if a Hindu, so when the Hindu pray for you, man, you have a good one, bro. You have a good one.
Yeah, I know.
You have a good one. That dude, he's so way out of town. I don't know who was next. Usually I try to pop over and look and see who's next and who's next. I have no idea whatsoever. He couldn't prove nothing. He couldn't show no Exodus. You see how he jumped from story to story each time they're proven to not have happened. You demonstrate that, hey, there was no slaves, no Israelite slaves. The Exodus didn't happen. Your Sodom and Gomorrah story is a meteorite burst, and people ancient times wrote about it and claimed that some God did it. Iron Man. Oh shit, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
didn't even know I requested to come up. Oh my God.
You must be Miss. I'm doing. Are you Miss Fifi's sister or something?
No.
Because she be pressing that button by accident all the time. It's all right.
This has happened to me like 3 times already. I just pulled into the garage and I was packing stuff from my car, and then I heard my name.
Oh, okay. I understand. Did you want to say something, or are you ready to go?
No, I was just listening.
Okay. All right. Well,
you have seen the witchcraft from the other side. That was fun. Yeah,
it always cracks me up. They think that, oh, what we do is right because it's by our God. Anybody else stuff is witchcraft. Your stuff is witchcraft too, dude. I'm gonna get some oils and some salt, and I'm gonna make some sigils out of his name that he had on there, and I'm gonna do some magic so that his eyes become open.
And they say they're preaching the gospel. Isn't that a spell that they're casting on people?
It certainly is. Ain't nothing but a spell. Nothing but a spell.
Lighting, music, drumming, and all of that.
Yeah, they got all these ritualistic things that they do to bring about the power of their God. That's witchcraft. It falls under the same category. They just don't want to call it that because that word has been demonized. But I know you didn't mean to come on, but I appreciate you. So I'm gonna let you go, Miss Iron Man, because I can't even hear you. Thank you. Bye. Thought I had a Marvel person on here. It's gonna talk some Marvel. It always funny to me when people hit the button by accident. Easy going. Easy going. Easy going. Easy going, going once. Easy going, going twice. Easy going out of here. She heard me say her name. That's why she's coming up. Hey, Miss Fifi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Haven't you been talking to my sister? I just joined in. I don't even know what the conversation was, but it was so funny when I joined in that you said that to that young lady.
Oh, yeah, she was she hit it by accident.
I think I heard the tail end before either he dropped or whatever. But
I kicked him because it was just nonsense, and he can't, he jumped from one point to another and couldn't really defend anything, especially when he's getting his information based on Ron Wyatt, who never discovered anything. So, when Christians hear that, oh, they found chariots, they just run with that without ever doing any research concerning it. And when other civilizations wrote about similar Sodom and Gomorrah stories, then they just want to try to discount it. Oh, it did have this, did it have that? It's like, dude, he's talking about 2 cities being destroyed by some bomb overhead.
mm-hmm.
And astrometrically, we can see that around the 17th century BCE that some upper atmosphere explosion happened near the Dead Sea, and that's where all those stories come from.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't put 2 and 2 together.
No, they can't.
It's not really math, is
It does not. And they can't see the issues within their own story because they're so dedicated to this story
mm-hmm.
that they have to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. But I always tell them that at the end, Jesus said, I don't know you. You worker of iniquity. Get away from me.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them gonna get told that. A lot of them gonna get told that.
Because they know they're workers of iniquity.
Yeah. You're so silly.
But anyway.
I can't with you.
It's hard to get into the kingdom.
It is. I don't want to get into the kingdom of heaven. It sounds like slavery to me.
All day long, all night long.
And I can't sing. That's slavery. I gotta hear my voice singing. I mean, can you just imagine you in a place that you're just worshiping this God 24/7, and you either have knowledge that your family members are suffering in hell or anyone is suffering in this lake of fire, and you're supposed to be happy. But if you wipe away my emotions for that, you wipe away my memory of those people, then I'm not me anymore. So what's the point?
Right.
There's no point to it at that. I can't. It's dumb.
Forever and ever.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think they think about it. I don't think they ever give it deep thought. They think it's gonna be sunshines and rainbows and unicorns and all that stuff, and that's what they're going to be existing in. So, and they don't realize their Bible doesn't say that they're going to be existing in this place that they imagine, where they get to hang out with all their family members and everything's just nice and they sitting on picnic blankets. Mm. Mm-hmm.
Oh who knows what's gonna happen? But you know, the best thing is to enjoy your life every day.
I do.
Do something kind for yourself.
I-
And don't get stuck to, you know what's right, you know what's wrong.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Even when I have days, I don't even have days where I'm deeply troubled all day long and something like that. Everybody has their moments. You know, you have your moments where you might be troubled about this or troubled about that. But I try to make every day, every moment as glorious as I possibly can. Sometimes, like I was gonna come do a live yesterday, and I literally decided I don't want to deal with these people today. Some of these people gonna mess up my happiness. And I was like, nah, I ain't doing it because I'm having a good day.
Well, you are knowledgeable and you're able and you're very patient, so you're able to deal with these people. So
Yeah, but yesterday I didn't feel like it.
In itself.
I didn't feel like it yesterday. Oh, and look, I know you can't see it, but this joker over here on YouTube talking about some Renz, you look depressed.
Oh boy, go ahead and drop me. I'm gonna be listening and having fun.
Okay, Miss Fifi, I appreciate you.
Okay.
See, that's that reaching bullshit. Oh, you look depressed. You look man. You have no idea what's going on in my life. I had some good shit happen today in my life. That's why I ain't come on here till late because I was handling some business. You look depressed. Yeah, you crazy. You had a job that you had to go to probably. I don't. I ain't depressed. I don't know which one of you guys came up next. So I'm just clicking one. Energy. Hello, Energy. Energy Divine.
So
Hey there.
answering your prompt, me personally, from the people that I've interacted with, first of all, I'm new to your page, your channel, your platform, and everything. Thank you for allowing me up to answer the prompt.
My pleasure.
I go live as well, and I've been off about a year and a half. Anyway, so to answer the prompt, me personally, atheists are more moral than God. Is that a question? That's just a statement? Or are you looking to build conversation around it? Because myself, I definitely can say I agree because of all the interactions that I've had thus far for so many years and delving in researching, knowing this place and myself in it. So yeah, those people who don't fasten themselves to organized constructs and they more or less work with logics and science and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I found with people who are classified or they even self-labeled as atheists. But yeah, they more mindful about how they handle things. They just keep it more basic.
Exactly. No, and I'm not
going to say all atheists. No, I'm just saying those that I've come encounter with. I have a quick story. When I was houseless, supposed to be classified as homeless when I was pregnant with my firstborn.
Oh.
In a place called Riverside Christian Faith Center, in a place located in Johnson County, North Carolina, which happens to still to this day be a sundown.
Why does that sound familiar to me?
What, Johnson County?
Yeah. Where's that at?
Johnson County, North Carolina.
Like what? Okay, what city is it near?
What cities are inside that county?
Or biggest city near it?
I don't recall. It's been 29 years since I've been in that location, but it was in Johnston County.
You know what? I just
the whole area is that.
I realized why that I was stationed on a base called Camp Johnson in North Carolina. That's why. So ignore me. Go ahead.
Okay, so is it near Fort Bragg? Yeah, like you said.
Camp Lejeune. Camp
Anyway,
Lejeune.
so in this place, this is during the year of Fran. If anybody on your call, on your live, remember Fran, the year Fran came to North Carolina.
I do.
Okay, yeah. I was just reading the comments. And Fran came through. Now I'm in this shelter for women and children. I was pregnant with my firstborn. Scared out of my mind. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it was the most pleasant pregnancy I've all for. Anyway, so Fran came through. And it was on a 40+ acre lot. It had horses and other, animals and lakes and saying and all that good stuff for a woman like myself was able to develop that baby that I was going on. But they were coming at me.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying it. And eventually they did come at me. But Gloria, because when Fran came through, we didn't lose lights. No tree fell on the structures that we were housed in, anything like that. It's like we didn't really have a lot of interruptions, but getting out from the compound, you're fine. But once you get into like the little area, the little towns, things are down, debris, stuff like that. Because Fran was something, so I was told. Anyway, they were trying to say that or convince the ladies there or scare them, if you ask me, that, you know, this is a sign from God, woo, woo, woo. And Gloria, I love her so much, she said, no, all you had to do is watch the news. We knew it was coming. And that's level of logic, and she's not have no motive to try to upset anyone. She just blurted out, older, actually an ex-professor.
Mm-hmm.
And she became homeless because she decided to opt out of how society was going. So she has the means, but she chose the road that she was on. And she was a self-proclaimed atheist. And then I geeked with one, Bob Ludwig. He was another one, self-proclaimed atheist. We used to chop it up a lot. He used to like to talk about Grecian mythology. Grecian mythology until the time that I said that I had declared my nationality. And then he didn't speak to me anymore. Go figure. Yes, love. There is red face. It's in the refrigerator. It's in a jar. It's at the cans. It's just canned tomatoes. There's some. My apologies. Working with my son. This is one of 2 workrooms here at the post. Like you said, like I said, you're new to me. I'm a creator of all things original. Or children, women, and men, home decor, original artwork, accessories, non-type courses, holistic classes. And because of where I'm at in this era of time, located on Northwestern Mexico, known to most people as North America, Turtle Island, El Morocco, things like that, I teach people about their nationality and birthrights.
Okay.
That's what I'm on here to do. Not that stuff, but to teach people to support their local creators, you know, because the supply chains can be interrupted. Y'all know what y'all just went through for the last couple of years. So that type of things. I've only been on this a year and a half. I was inspired to come on because I have a sister who would send me clips from this, but I didn't have the app. So I couldn't access it to make the things that she's seen. That's what I do. I can create whatever you send me for the most part.
I see some. That's why I made you big on my screen, because I was seeing some of the stuff behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I like to make, and I'm working in this workroom. I just did a piece of clip. I did some content showing, because it's been a minute since I've been posting and going live, because I got a lot going on. I'm remodeling. I mean, it's just a lot. And like you, I haven't been gigging in over 16 years by choice. You know, I haven't banked in over 24 years now by choice. I've educated all my sons and daughter in the home by choice.
Yeah, I got
under the auspices of homeschooling, but I just didn't feel like that was the place to send my sons and daughters from my own personal experience, the experiences of my mom and her big family, because I'm an only child. She was one of 10. So, and they were in the integration period. Right. So her stories and just how they've developed. And
now, energy.
My own experience.
We now went way off topic. We now.
Just introduce myself to your peoples and yourself.
Now,
but
let me.
But that's how I feel. Atheists are more moral because they just deal with the ones that I've dealt with. They just basically live in life, dealing with it as they can, and they're not looking to dupe people. And they're not allowing anybody to dupe them.
Exactly. No, I agree with you 100%, and that's why, like, I brought the subject matter up. It's both a statement and a question. It's a statement for me, but of course, for those who believe in the Bible, I wanted them to see it as a question, so that they can and hopefully start a conversation about the fact that I want to see how they try to prove that their God is more moral. When you read this book and you see all the things that this God does to people and to animals and everything, that there is a complete immorality of this God compared to how we are today. Now, if we was 3,000 years ago, we would think this God was moral because we'd be living the same lifestyle. Because that's how people thought 3,000 years ago. They thought that women are only property 3,000 years ago. They thought that slavery was okay 3,000 years ago. But we have grown to a higher moral standard through the centuries simply by living life and moral people standing up to change society time and time again. This is why I don't put anything on one group of people is evil, one group of people is good, because all groups of people, there's not one group of people on the planet, if you look at their history, that they would fit to our moral caliber today. Because they were all, almost everybody in the world had slavery at some point in time in their history. But we think
That's what we've learned. My apologies.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's what we learned. You know, like I said, we're self-elucidating. I like to research a lot of resources, things like that. And yeah, I mean, for us, we've learned that man has two selves, higher self and lower self. So anybody I come across in the moment that we're in together, I can assess the situation for what I'm dealing with. And I'm not letting my emotions come into this, especially if it's someone I just met. That really shows, you know, my level of character. If I'm just so quick to allow something so precious as emotions to be, you know. So I feel like, yeah, definitely just these people today, they're not understanding that that's, you know, it's a research book, it's a resource book, it's a sun book, it's not about, you know, the body type, but it's, you know, it's reference to, but it's not, those people didn't walk it like people. But you know, it's hard to get people to understand that when they're attached under the spell that has been cast. So I don't even attempt to. I really don't. I leave people where they're at.
Yep, that's
because
right.
I was taught we all have a higher self and a lower self. So when I'm encountering someone and those attributes are being shown, be it higher self or lower self, I adjust myself accordingly.
I'm with you. And that's why I didn't go live yesterday, because I didn't feel like dealing with any lower-minded people yesterday. Not that my people now,
that's what's up.
For my people who follow me and they like what I talk about, it ain't about not them other people, and they know who they are. Like, then they say stupid shit like this guy just said, Sam I am talking about this dude thinks that there were no decent people 3,000 years ago. Is that what I said? I said the general consensus is that people thought that slavery was okay.
We were taught that every nation has suffered enslavement.
Yeah, and in every society, there are people who go against the grain of what the society is doing and think that some of what they're doing is wrong. So if that's how change happens. That's how we got out of slavery. That's how women got the self-agency. That's why child labor laws came into being. All those things happen because somebody in the society that generally thought that something was good thought that that was wrong, and then it changes. And we'll continue to do that even in today, as there are things that that as a society we may think, oh, that's okay. But there are people who are saying, no, that's not okay. And hopefully one day that thing will be proven to be better and society will move on to that. And that's the growth of
And that's what I'm hoping.
Go ahead. That's what you're hoping.
That's what I'm hoping to be an inspiration. I'm not looking, when I got on here, most people, when they look at my contact, when they come on my live or see me on other people's live, oh, can I get that? Oh, how do I get that? How do I order? And I let them know right away, I'm not here to sell you anything. You know, I'm here just to remind you that, you know, you have creative people right in your community, whatever affiliations that you have, be it church or, you know, your gig or other associations that you may find yourself in. But I bring it back to community, because in this time, you should see that it should be a community thing, because right now we have pretty much most of what we need. You know, I may not have a leaf blower, but you might.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
And besides, I don't need to have everything. I got to store all that. Now that's when George Carlin comes into mind about stuff and everything.
I'm with
and
you.
as an artist, as I am, I have to have a lot of stuff in order to create things for the community that I need to create for you all. But in order for me to do my work uninterrupted, then yes, who's going to make the bills? See, it's a community effort. So we got to get our mind in my humble. We have to get ourselves back to communal thinking. What we can do within our so-called certain amount of blocks, let's say 13, 20 square blocks or something. Those things, I can't grow everything I need to consume. But the land does still yield everything. It does. We're told it's not.
Right.
And a consorted campaign has been for quite some generations to get rid of natural fruiting nut trees and fruit trees and things like that in urban situations.
What you talking about?
You know, I'm old enough to remember. I'm 50 plus. When I used to walk and go from one community to another, and we ate along the way. No candy store. The candy store was the nature's things. You know, so getting back to community and realizing that we don't have to worry about changing of currencies and things like that. Just really focus on, is your brother okay? Is your sister okay? Did you check on your neighbor? Are y'all planning? Are y'all really coming together? Forget your city council meetings and your borough councils, because they already proven.
Yeah.
They hire police departments. You know, so there's all that stuff.
But
I'm saying a local man and woman, like I'm growing as much as what I can. I grow things medicinal like your mugwort. Well, I don't grow the mugwort, that's natural around here. But, you know, I plant seeds for the heal all, things like that, marshmallow, you know, things like that you may need. So this neck of the woods can be known for, well, if you need this type of thing,
I'm with you.
you can go over in that area. And you notice I keep saying that neck of the woods. I don't claim municipalities because I'm ancient.
I got you. But I gotta keep moving because my wife now sent me a message. So let me keep moving. I appreciate you.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace and love. So that was energy_divine_L''S. So y'all go and check out her TikTok page. She has some interesting artwork in the background. So I want you to go check it out. And sounds like you can get some natural healing things as well. She took me to my childhood when she talked about walking across, because there were times we didn't have food. So we just walk across town and you can pick fruit and nuts and berries. And that's how you ate. Those were some good old days back then. Those were some good days. And it throws me off because I can walk across the city I grew up in now, and they've made a concerted effort to get rid of all those fruit trees and whatnot. And we don't have none of those now in the town that I grew up in. You have to grow them in your own yard. True Atheist.
Hi, Coach. I agree with the topic today because I don't beat children. I don't kill people, but it's not because of a God, because I see him doing the same exact thing. It's because I wouldn't want people doing that to me. That's why I don't do it. And I'm an atheist, so I definitely think that atheists are more moral than God is.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. I mean, we can just look at the statistics and see that, you know, you look at American prisons, and there are more religious people in prisons than atheists in prisons. More crimes are committed by religious people than they are committed by non-religious people. And I know the cop out for that is, oh, well, they ain't real Christians or real Muslims or real whatevers. No, they believe in what you believe. As a matter of fact, and a lot of them, when they get out, they claim something else when they get out. So they make all those types of claims, but the statistics don't back them up. And their Bible certainly does not back them up at all.
Did you know that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you know that according to statistics, like you were saying, atheist nations are less crime-ridden than the religious nations are? The Christians and Islam nations? Yeah,
the Netherlands have lesser crime rates, lesser murder rates than these more religious countries. Like it's not even something that you have to look hard to find. You know, look around and struggle to find the information. The more religious the country is, the worse their crime. Oftentimes, you have higher poverty rates. Quality of life sucks. Work-life balance sucks. It's terrible in some of these religious countries.
I feel so horrible for the women in Islamic nations. They are never gonna. It seems like they're never gonna come up out of their oppression that they're in now. They're not even thinking about letting it go. I hope so.
I mean, thankfully, some of the Muslim countries are becoming more and more liberal. Yeah, women in Saudi Arabia, where they couldn't drive when I was in Saudi Arabia, a woman couldn't drive. Now a woman can drive. That may seem like a small thing to Americans, but that's a big thing.
It's horrible. Hold a woman as property. Come on, people. What kind of man does that?
But it's based on their religion.
Yeah,
religion holds people down.
They're definitely not real men to do that to a woman.
Mm-mm. But
Hey, I had a question. What would you rather do if you died? Stay dead or come back in a hell that was just the way you wanted it to be? If the hell existed the way you wanted it to be.
well, of course, with those being my only option, I'd rather come back. I mean, stay dead. I'd rather stay dead. Because you said come back to a hell. I wouldn't create a hell though.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like
yeah,
if I'm the creator of my afterlife, it's
yeah,
not gonna be a hell. It's gonna
like an afterlife the way you wanted it to be.
yeah. If I can come back, if the afterlife is whatever I make it, then I go to that because that's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
You have your wife and everything in it.
Well, if she dead too, yeah. But if she ain't dead, I ain't gonna kill her. But
No,
I know, I know what you mean. I was just messing with you because I know she listening.
would you rather stay dead with you or come back after y'all
What?
both die? If it was possible to raise the dead people back.
No, I don't know what I'm taking them out of, so I wouldn't raise anybody up. I
No.
leave them dead. I don't know what I'm taking them out of.
Yeah.
If there is anything that I'm taking them out of, it just could be oblivion, and oblivion is
That's what
for
I
some
believe
people,
in.
oblivion is better than the world we live in now.
That's what I believe in. I just believe in total oblivion after death because there's nobody that has proven that there's a heaven or a hell yet.
Yeah, until I have some proof, I don't accept it either.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, hopefully, I can create my own afterlife, but there's no proof of one, so oblivion. But let me go. I gotta go quick now because my wife now told me that it's dinner time.
Bye, Coach.
All right, later. She done sent me a message over there. Let me hit this person. It's two. This person and one more person. Then we're gonna be done for the day. Was it? Is it Gaudo? Godo? How do I say it?
Ghana is fine.
Okay. Are you over 21?
I am.
All right, good. And what are you a believer?
Yes.
All right. So you believe that you're a believer in what God?
There's only one God.
Based on what book?
So, can we start by?
I gotta know what God you're talking about first. Are you talking about the Christian God, the Muslim God, the Hindu God?
I follow Christ.
Okay, there you go. All right, so go ahead.
So, how is it that you yourself are a descendant of Nephilim, but say the things that you do?
I'm not a descendant of a Nephilim.
You're not a serpent.
No, I'm not a descendant of a Nephilim or a serpent.
In Jesus Christ's name, you're not a negative blood type.
No, I'm not a negative blood type.
So then, sir, you're being misled. Are you aware of that?
I don't really even know what the hell you're talking about.
That's a good thing. And now I think I know why I'm here. So there's two types of humans on the earth, sir. You have descendants of Noah, and you have descendants of fallen angels. Your blood type, according to what you've said, is a positive blood type, which is the same blood type as my own. We are descendants of Noah. And then you have the descendants of fallen angels, which are serpents and scorpions, or having DNA from seraphim and cherubim angels, who are the ones who pretend to be like you, but are not, and are going to laugh at you if you fall and say, look who I was in this life and how I led you down here.
So if the Noah, so you believe the Noah story happened?
So I know that the Noah story happened.
Okay, so if the Noah story happened, then how are there Nephilim? Didn't they all die, according to the story?
In Genesis 6:4, the scriptures say before the flood and after the flood. And if you're a positive blood type, like you say,
How did that happen?
In Jesus Christ's name.
How did wait? How did that happen? If Noah and his children were the only people who survived, how is there Nephilim still amongst us?
Yeah, so again, Genesis 6:4, if you pull it up, says the sons of God came into the daughters of men and bore giants to them. And there were giants in the earth in those days before the flood and afterwards. So the sons of God before the flood and afterwards came into the daughters of men and produced offspring.
So you are taking Genesis 4:6 to say that this, and the part where it says and so afterwards, to mean and so after the flood, even though the flood hadn't happened yet.
Let me make this very easy for you. If you Google it, sir, there's two blood types of humans. A positive blood type.
I understand
nice
that.
And friendly because they have good spirits from God. They have a soul.
No.
And a negative blood type whose blood attacks positive blood when they're mixed. So
no.
There's two bloodlines, sir.
Nope. I know. Nope. I know some.
Everyone.
I know a whole bunch of positive blood type people who are evil and racist as hell.
Yeah, but they're descendants of Noah.
Well, you just said they're good people. You just said they were good people.
This is what I'm saying. Jesus explained that the life is in the blood. So you and I'm a positive blood type. We both descended from Noah, but there's another race of human beings, sir, that have negative blood because they have negative spirits. Sir,
Genesis 6:4 does not demonstrate that there were Nephilim on the earth after the flood. If that's the case, then the whole Noah story and only the saving of his sons and their repopulating the earth is a farce then, because it says that everyone died except for them.
Listen to what I'm saying, sir.
So the Bible lied to itself?
Cousin or ancestor, we are of Noah. You're a positive.
No, I'm not.
Type.
No, I'm not.
So you're negative blood
I'm
type?
not. I'm not of Noah. My family lineage does not go to Noah. My family lineage does not go to Noah. I have no Levantian DNA in my body.
Well, just know that you might be wrong and you might be
No.
with a race of people.
No.
No.
No. Explain then, how were there civilizations that were in existence before the flood, during the flood, and after the flood? We have archaeological evidence of those civilizations existing during and after the flood. They didn't die.
They were the Rephaim and also the sons of Seth, sir. So I can.
The sons of Seth. These are people who was in the Polynesian islands. They had no idea that these Levantian people even existed. There were people in the Americas who had no idea that them people ever existed. And the flood never happened.
You're being misled by humans who are not like you, sir. I'm trying to explain to you.
So you're saying the archaeological evidence that demonstrates that the flood never happened is false?
Yes, sir.
How is it false?
You're being tricked by Nephilim, sir, against your own God.
I don't even have time for this stupid shit. That's just dumb. I've had some if my wife hadn't sent me a message, I would take more time to deal with that stupidity. You got negative blood, so you from the Nephilim. You got positive blood, so you from Noah. I ain't from no damn Noah. I ain't got no Levantian blood in me at all. What kind of bullshit is that? I don't even feel like dealing with that. Oh, the other guy's gone. I mean, y'all ever heard some bullshit like that? I ain't never heard that bullshit. Oh, and they always go with this. Okay, so if you read the book of Enoch, first book of Enoch, it talks about the giant Og tied himself to the mast of Noah's boat. He's like, please say, let me be saved, Noah. But then it doesn't talk about Noah, Og having sex with anybody after that. So how the fuck you get some Nephilim? But because they got that David story, they got to have some Nephilim still existing. So he's taking Genesis 4, and let me read that for y'all. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards, when the sons of God went into the daughters of humans, who bore children to them. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of renown. So when it's talking about in those days and afterwards, that's going back to when the people began to multiply on the face of the earth, the face of the ground, and the daughters were born to them. The sons of God saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves of all that they had chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in the mortals forever, for they are flesh. Their days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days. So and those days and afterwards. In those days, when they first had their incursion into humans before Noah, and then they're in their even after the days that they had their incursion. Now, God then says that, you know what, these humans are evil as fuck. I'm tired of them. I'm gonna kill them. 120 years is all they're gonna live. So he saw the wickedness of the humans was so great on earth that every inclination of their thoughts of their heart were only evil continuously. Not the Nephilim. He's talking about humans. And the Lord was sorry that he had made humans on earth, and it grieved him to his heart. Not the Nephilim, the humans. So the Lord said, I will blot out from the earth the humans. I have created people together and animals and creepy things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I had made them. But Noah found favor with this God. I'm going to kill every goddamn body and every animal. Animals didn't have nothing to do with it. Animals didn't have nothing to do with it. So Noah and his 3 sons, they get on the ark. They build the ark. They get on the ark. He's confused 2 of every kind. And then he changed it up to 7 of the clean animals in chapter 7, you know, and then the whole flood happens, right? And it destroys all the people and everything. And here's the part he said, in chapter 7:21, all the fish died and moved on the earth, birds, domestic animals, wild animals, all swarming creatures that swarm the earth, and all human beings. Everything on dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. Everything. So for that dude who was up there, if everything died that had breath died, except for Noah and his sons, where the hell are the Nephilim? Where are the Nephilim? There are no Nephilim. They dead according to this story. All of them. Because God killed everything that had breath. The Nephilim, who were the heroes of old, the great men of renown. Everything died. So now he want to concoct this. Oh, if you got positive and then you got negative, then your negative is the serpentine Nephilim, who were the heroes of old and great men of renown. They get the idea that the Nephilim are evil because of the book 1 of Enoch. That is a doctrine. That is a doctrine that has gone over into Christianity from a book that they don't consider to be their book. That's how idiotic that is. That's why I didn't even tolerate that. But IG, I saw you just pop up, but I can't. I got to get you tomorrow, bro. I got to get you tomorrow because my wife now sent me 2 messages that dinner is ready. And so I'm overtime. So IG, I'll be on here tomorrow. And I promise I'll get you up here tomorrow. Because I know you probably got some good shit. But wait a minute. Okay. You're going to give me some comedy. Come on, IG. Okay. IG, real quick. IG, I'm trying. You're getting me in trouble, so get your ass on here. IG, if you don't get your red ass beard up here and say something real quick. IG, unmute your mic. See, I'm going beyond my scope, and IG ain't his that New Orleans. Well, he in Atlanta now. Can't talk bad about Atlanta. I'm giving people atheists are evil. All right, so IG is messing up. He's on mute. He probably at work knowing that joker. He probably at work. But look, I gotta go. I wanted IG to come up and give us a little laughter before we leave because he always got some good stuff. Cracks me up every time he's on here. You know what? We're gonna carry this conversation over into tomorrow. We'll talk about this again tomorrow. I should be able to go on earlier tomorrow, probably starting around 2-3 o'clock, and go to about 2 o'clock, so we can go all the way up to 5 tomorrow. But you know, like I said, my wife and I sent me 2 messages, so I know, right, user? Mama gonna kick my ass. I know. Because usually I try to get off here right before she gets home. But oh yeah, okay. You hopped off going to say okay, gotcha, IG. I understand. So y'all have a great day. See y'all tomorrow around 2:30 East Central time, and we'll continue this discussion tomorrow. So y'all have a great day, and always remember you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations, and